Hey YouTube, what is up? I know the format is a little hectic right now because we're trying to figure out how to play Zodiacs with only 2 rat. For me, I'm just going to stick to my Monarchs until something a little better is figured out. But I think there's something more important to talk about right now. We actually got some new news on how link summoning is going to work. We got some new clarifications on rules because Japan gets this shit in all of about 3 days. So I'm very excited to see how link format is going to develop. But we got some new news that I think is very important and very weird and makes me think that link summoning is going to be a lot faster than we thought it was going to be. We assumed links is going to slow down the game. This makes me feel the exact opposite of that. I think it's actually going to speed the game up. You can basically complete something called an extra link. It's what we just learned about. Extra link is, it's crazy, but it's the ability to take the other extra deck monster zone. So in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, once we get link summoning, there are 2 extra deck monster zones. When you take one, your opponent by default gets the ability to take the other. You can't take it, but at least we thought you couldn't, but now there's actually a way to, and the way to do it is by completing an extra link. The way you do this is by using a term called mutual links. A mutual link is when you have 2 link monsters that have arrows that point to each other. Like, you know, if one points diagonally down, one points diagonally up, and they kind of touch like that. I'll put up an image so you can understand it a little better. But the way you do this is by putting a monster in your extra deck monster zone. That's a link monster. You open up links into your main monster zone. Then by completing mutual links between every card, that means the first one, the second one, the third one, they all need to be pointing at each other on both sides. Anytime there's cards that are near each other, I'll show you the image so you can understand it a little better. If you do that and you train your way all the way to your opponent's extra deck monster zone, and you put a card in that extra deck monster zone that would complete a mutual link that links all the way back through other mutual links to your extra deck monster zone, you complete an extra link and you successfully take your opponent's extra deck monster zone. They can't use it. Obviously, if they clear it out and then, they get the ability to use it again. But if you can imagine locking your opponent out of extra deck monster summoning turn 1 by just putting 5 monsters on board, that's absolutely ridiculous. You're going to be able to turbo it out, no joke. I assume it's something that's really easy to do. I saw Jeff Jones's combo already, and he had a ton of mutual links with that. And if you did it with a more mutual link focused build, you can definitely pull it off. So there's a lot of crazy shit that's going to happen. You can pretty much just steal your opponent's ability to extra deck monster summon. That's essentially what we learned. That makes me think the game's going to be a lot faster and a lot more dangerous than we assumed it was going to be. We thought it was going to slow down, maybe kind of go like a GOAT format thing where it's like one extra deck monster, set a couple cards pass. Your opponent does the same thing and then you keep going back and forth. It doesn't seem like it's going to be like that. It seems like it's going to be more tower defense like what we're doing now, where we build a big wall and if our opponent can't break it, we win the next turn. So I want to hear what you guys think about this. It's actually pretty crazy that you can steal your opponent's extra deck monster zone by putting more monsters on your board. So you essentially put 5 monsters on your board and that stops your opponent completely. And then they have to deal with the 5 monsters and they have to deal with it without going into their extra deck, which is pretty crazy. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if anybody knows how to play Zodiacs with 2 rats, let me know.